Hey guys, welcome to Faith in the Magic, where we see God's fingerprints in every story. And today I'm going to be talking about Ariel. And we are continuing on with this theme of belonging because it is the month of February, and we're continuing on with like self-care and loving ourselves and putting ourselves first. And I thought Ariel would be the best person to continue on with what we are talking about because, as we know in The Little Mermaid, Ariel wanted to have a moment where she felt like she belonged. She, wanted to obviously be with her family. She loves her family, but she also knew there was something else out there. And then when she met Prince Eric, everything changed. And she was like, how can I get to know more about this person? I want feet, I want legs, I want all these things, and I want to be normal, I want to be human, and I don't want to be a mermaid right now. So she did, what she thought was necessary at that time, which later, she learned this was not the right thing to do. And she gave up her voice. She gave up something that was a huge part of her because she wanted to belong and she wanted to get somebody else's attention. And not that she needed, the legs and, everything and feet and, looked human, because Prince Eric fell in love with the voice, without even seeing the glimpse of who Ariel was. So she, in all actuality, when you think about it, she really didn't need to change anything about herself because Prince Eric had already fell in love with the version of somebody that he was still trying to figure out who is this person. Because mind you, once the ship got ruined and everything and she had to bring him to the shore, he was still trying to figure out who she was. It was a blurry picture of her face, but he knew that voice and he was like, I'm gonna cling on to this voice because I want to know who this person is. So, she didn't have to change who she was. And I want somebody to know that you don't have to change who you are for people to like you, for you to fit in, because like I talked about before, we aren't meant to fit into everybody's puzzle. We are a unique puzzle piece and we're not meant to try to, carve off the side or break off a piece or, change and adjust and tweak it or just push it in to fit. No, we are unique in our own way. And we do not need to fit into these molds or these boxes of which people try to put us into. And, if only somebody was able to tell Ariel, just be yourself. Like, you didn't have to change for him to love you because he already was falling in love with you because of your voice. And, he was intrigued by just that alone. So I want to encourage, not just the women, but also even men that, during this month, remind yourselves that you don't have to change anything about you. You don't have to change one hair on your head. You don't have to change, how your nails look. I mean, obviously you want your nails to look cute and good, but if somebody's like, oh, I don't like girls that have long nails, or I don't like guys that don't, take care of their nails, they need to have clear polish on. Like, you don't have to go to those extremes to fit in or get that person to like you. If those people aren't liking you for what they see when they first see you, like a first impression, then they're not for you, because we don't need to shift or change ourselves for people to like us or to belong. And sadly, Ariel felt like she had to give up her voice to belong, and she didn't need to do that. So I want to encourage you again to not feel like you have to change anything about yourself to fit in. Obviously, yes, do we have places in our lives that we need to, change in terms of growth mindset and maturity? Yes, always. There's always going to be something that we need to mature in our lives, man and woman. But that doesn't mean that you have to go cutting off your hair because guys like only girls with shortcuts, or you have to change your hair color to red because guys only like girls with red hair, or even for guys that you have to, take out your dreads because girls don't like guys with dreads, or you have to take out the piercing in both of your ears because girls don't. If they don't accept you for who you are, then they weren't meant to be in your lives for a reason. They weren't meant to be there. And also, that is a flag, because if you're already starting out changing yourself for somebody else, imagine everything else that you're going to have to continue to change because of things that you hear people say, or that person that you're trying to impress say, because you're trying to change yourself to get to like them or for them to like you. You know what I mean? So God doesn't want us to do that. God encourages us to be our true selves and be who he has made us to be. And we were all born the way we were for a reason. You know, God didn't want us to be anybody but ourselves. And I hope that you guys are encouraged to remind yourselves daily throughout this month of February that, you know, it's okay if, you know, you didn't get that Valentine's, what are they called? The, like, in school, the Valentine's grams, I think, you know, the candy grams, and like how they do like the roses, and you could put, you know, send them off to a person, or you can send off like candy to a person, because I know they do that for like the younger grade levels. You know, it's okay if you didn't get that. Tell mom, hey, can we go to the store so we can get some Reese's, because I like Reese's and I want Reese's for a gift for myself, because I love myself and I don't need to wait for somebody to give me that gift. That is the whole thing, is that we don't need to wait for other people to give us things or gift us with things. We can gift ourselves with things as well. Yes, is it more meaningful when other people do that for us, also without having to ask for it? Yes, it is. But at the same time, like I talked about in the last episode, we have to love on ourselves. And if we don't know how to love ourselves, nobody's going to be able to know how to love us. And lost a sense of herself when she gave up her voice, because her voice was a big part of her. And also, I want to encourage you, don't let anybody steal your voice. You know, there's a lot of times where you may feel like you want to speak up, stand your ground, stand 10 toes down, but because of the environments that you're in, you don't know if it's okay to say something or if it's not okay to say something. But you should at all times feel like what I have to say is just as important as the person sitting beside me has to say. Do not lose your voice in the midst of the room that you're in. Like I said, when we step into rooms and heads turn, because we are stepping confidently and boldly into these rooms. And God never asks us to silence ourselves. God doesn't require you to shrink, hide, or trade your truth. So again, God writes our stories, and nobody can take anything away from us, because it's our stories and we know what happens in our lives. But again, God doesn't require you to shrink. He doesn't require you to hide or trade your truth. God wants you to be you, and he wants you to fill the room with all of you and all that you have to bring, and that includes your voice. He wants you to share your voice. He wants you to share your thoughts. He wants you to share what's on your mind, because the things that you have to say may change this world radically. But if you're sitting on it because you've heard people say, oh, I don't like the way she talks, or oh, I don't like the way he's, saying this thing. We are all on this earth going to talk so differently. We are going to explain things so differently, because again, we are all different. We aren't made to talk the same. We aren't made to walk the same. We aren't made to think the same. And that's okay, because that is the uniqueness about each and every person on this earth, is that we are all different. And again, God never asks us to silence ourselves. So I want you to be encouraged to, share what's on your heart, share what's on your mind. Do it respectfully. Now, I'm not saying, go out if you have something that you've wanted to say to somebody and just go tell them off. Nope, I'm not saying that. Pray always about everything, but be respectful in the way you deliver something. If something costs you your voice, peace, or identity, pause. Pray. Because that is also the devil trying to creep in and steal, kill, and destroy your dreams, your peace, your identity, and make you act out of your character. And again, like I said, God doesn't require us to shrink, hide, or trade our truth, but the devil will try to do things and creep in to try to steal our voice and make us be silenced. If something costs you your voice, your peace, or your identity, that is something that you have to really pay attention to, because God knows our hearts, God knows our character, and a lot of people will try to get you out of your character, or try to, like I said, write the story or the narrative about your life or about who you are. And we are the only people that can tell people who we are, and then obviously people watching our life, and how we walk in our journey. then they'll see that. But don't let anybody cost you your voice, your peace, or your identity. And if you have anything around you in your circle, whether that's family, friends, coworkers, the place of environment that you work in, your home, wherever, if that is costing you your peace, your voice, and your identity, that is time for you to pause and reflect and be like, God, is this the right space for me to be in? And once those things are, being compromised, basically, then that's like, oh, you're trying to, make me somebody that I'm not. And I'm not recognizing myself. And then we start to lose who we are. And if that starts to happen, that's a sign that needs to be like, oh, I need to get out of the situation, and I need to fill my cup back up, and I need to love on myself, and I need to know my worth and know that this is not where God has me to be, because this is compromising, parts about me that I don't recognize anymore. I'm not using my voice like I used to. I'm not sharing my ideas like I used to. I'm being more aggressive and angry and quick to, say things out of my mouth that I wouldn't say. Or I'm, now not recognizing who I am when I look at myself in the mirror. Like I just said, that if those things are happening and those things are being compromised, we need to pause and see what we need to evaluate around us and what we need to change, because something's not adding up, and something has to give, and something has to be taken away, and be removed also. We may have to remove ourselves from those people, those relationships, those jobs, if they are compromising our voice, our peace, and our identity. Basically, I just want to encourage with the self-love and loving on ourselves is, if you feel like things are being compromised, like I said, with your voice, your identity, your peace, or even your values and your morals, reevaluate those. And it's okay to invest our time and energy into other people. But if it comes at the cost of us losing ourselves and our morals, our values, and who we really are, and also trying to get closer to God and trying to, get to the kingdom, because the goal is to get to heaven and also bring more people to Christ, and be disciples. But in the process, if you're just continuing to lose yourself, like I said, and try to strip away at that little puzzle piece that is you, and try to bend pieces to fit, or, shift your schedule for other people and them not do the same for you, you're going to continue trying to just be who other people want you to be for them, but you're never going to be who God wants you to be for you and who he wants you to be for him. So, there's scriptures that I want to share with you. Proverbs 31:25 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future." Psalms 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." And lastly, Matthew 10:20 says, "It is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Let him lead you without losing yourself." God will not steer you on the wrong path. Many people on this earth will, and the devil will certainly try to steer you on a different path, but God will never steer you in the wrong direction. And I want us to be so grounded in who we are and knowing who we are and loving on ourselves that we won't accept the people that are trying to come into our lives that cost us our peace, cost us our voice, or cost us our identity, or make us compromise who we are, or try to change ourselves or change our values and our morals to try to fit into what they want us to fit into. God created you to be you. And if anybody is going to come into your lives, they're going to need to accept you for who you are and take all of you. And at any point, if you feel yourself finding things that you're changing so much about you, but then also you're looking at the people that you're around and they're not changing anything about them, then you know where the issues are, and it's not you, it's the others that are trying to change you to fit into something that you were never supposed to fit into. And Ariel, is a prime example of when she felt, things being compromised after the fact. She was like, whoa, I like this, and I like that I'm able to now have feet and legs, but I need my voice back. I need that piece of me back. And once Ariel like was at that point of like, okay, I need to get back what was rightfully mine. We have to have that same sense of, if somebody's trying to take our peace, take our joy, take our happiness, take our identity, cost us our voice, all these things, we need to have that same urge like Ariel did and be like, I'm taking back what was rightfully mine because it belongs to me. And at any point, if you feel that, you know, things around you, that people around you are trying to change who you are, it was never theirs to have. It was never theirs to have. You are authentically you, and God created you just the way you are. And don't let anybody change you or make you feel like you have to change anything about yourself to fit into a box that you were never meant to fit into. This is the month of love, that we need to love on ourselves and love on everybody else around us. But also in the process of doing that, don't change who you are to fit into what other people want you to be or how they want you to be in their lives. Because like I said, the people that are meant to be in your lives will see you for who you are, and they won't want to change you after seeing that first impression of you. They won't want to make you change your morals or compromise things about you. They will accept all of you and invite that in. And also before that, you have to accept all of you and who you are, flaws and all, before anybody else can come into your space. Because also, when you are truly grounded in who you are, when people come into your lives, they won't be able to say, oh, can you change this about you? Can you do this instead of this? Obviously, if it's changing something for growth and maturity, yes, that's something to evaluate. But if you're noticing that, then that's something you need to pay attention to, because once you're grounded in who you are, nobody's going to be able to come into your space and be like, oh, change this about you, because you're going to be like, nope. You either accept me for who I am, you love all of me for who I am, flaws and all, and my past and the baggage and things that I bring, or nothing. So I encourage you guys to stand 10 toes down, stand on who you are, stand firm, stand strong, and just be you. Continue to be you, grow and mature. But again, I want to encourage you that if anything in your life, relationship-wise or friendship-wise, is costing you your peace, your identity, or your character, I need you to strongly pause, reflect, and evaluate those relationships in your life, because they may not be what is best for you in this season of your life. Okay? Happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you all have a beautiful Valentine's week and Valentine's Day weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.